Welcome to another episode of Married with Video Games. I'm your host, Matthew.
I'm your host, Christina.
And Christina demanded that she play Echoes of Wisdom. And I obliged. We were playing... By we, I mean Christy played through The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and you play as the princess. You go on an adventure to rescue Link and save the kingdom of Hyrule from the evil entity called Null. Zelda, along with her new companion Tri, can create any object or monster they come across with to fight, climb, and solve puzzles.
I truly enjoy that this game starts you off playing as Link.
Yeah.
And then I also enjoy that this game has you face off against Ganon as, like, the first boss. And then you kill him. And then it's just not Ganon.
It's not Ganon.
For the first time in quite some time.
Zelda gets her own baddie to fight.
She does.
She doesn't have to... That's Link's nemesis?
It's not her nemesis.
No.
She didn't fight him, stave him off for 100 years.
No.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, no. Psh, this iteration of Zelda is all about that... all about a new enemy.
And a sassy ponytail, as I kept calling it.
She does have one sassy ponytail and a cat costume.
She does get a cat costume where you can talk to cats.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful.
That's the only purpose of this game.
To talk to the cats. There's a lot of cats all over this game. Not even joking.
You should have worn it to talk to more kitties.
I wore it for a very long time in a point in the game where there weren't a lot of cats.
I thought you were Tanuki Mario for a long time, and then you told me it was a cat costume.
Yes, correct.
So I totally thought it was a Tanuki.
That would have been
raccoon
great.
shoot.
And I wouldn't put it past Nintendo.
It would have been worth it. But it was very good. It was very cute. It was very well done. I have a lot to say, but we'll get into our reviews first, and then we'll kind of cut in. Echoes of Wisdom was released on September 24th, 2024 on Nintendo Switch.
No way.
I know. That's it. That's the only place. I guess I could expletive, play it on Steam Deck now, but we're not going to do that.
Okay.
I don't want to have Nintendo jump down my...
Don't even say it on a recording, then. I'm going to find out where we live.
They already know.
It's true.
There's a Nintendo guy standing outside our back door
Yeah, it's
now.
not an FBI agent that follows you around. It's actually a Nintendo.
That Matthew Lazara.
Okay.
Anyway.
Reviews. Metacritic, it has an 85 from critics and 8.6 from users. I went to Slant magazine for this review.
Oh, that's out there.
Yeah. I tried to find... There are no negative reviews for this game, so I had to find one that was...
Middling?
quote-unquote mixed, and it really wasn't. But I'm going to read the opening line of their review, and then I'll do the positive, because I enjoyed the opening 2 lines.
Okay.
Finally, the long-standing complaint that the Legend of Zelda games have never really been about Zelda's legend can be put to bed, and that's pretty literal in Echoes of Wisdom, considering how useful beds are across the game.
They're the most useful.
They were the best Echo, and Nintendo knows it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Slant Magazine's positive. Despite operating on the same visual style as 2019's Link's Awakening remake, the game's emphasis on player creativity is very much in line with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Arguably, this is a much more elegant realization of Nintendo's ethos for those games of giving players the tools to let them do whatever they can imagine, since there's so much less guesswork and fiddling with physics to be done to create bespoke solutions to problems. There's even the extra thrill of being able to conjure your own enemies, and there's a special Pokemon-esque thrill to figuring out which enemies can triumph over which at any given point.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. It was very overwhelming at first, especially for a Zelda game, because you're used to being able to swing a sword or shoot a bow, and you do not get that in this game. Well, you kind of do, but we can get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about that power in any of the spots, but we can cover it. Okay. Yeah, we're a full spoiler podcast, so go play the game if you don't want any spoilers and come back and listen afterward.
Yeah, and I have no idea where this takes place on the Zelda timeline, and I also don't care about the Zelda timeline, so...
No, I'm not... Yeah. It's all relative at this point.
Slant negative. The biggest problem with Echoes of Wisdom's creation mechanics is one of organization. The menu where you select which objects to conjure gets to be as long as an iPhone contact list after a while, and even with a few sorting options, getting exactly what you need gets arduous in the game's later hours. That pairs terribly with just how much Echoes of Wisdom seems to be putting a performance strain on the rapidly sundowning Switch.
Yeah, I had some comments, and I actually had some ideas to fix it, or I had one major idea to fix it.
I read none of what you wrote, but I wrote random thoughts at the end.
I didn't write how to fix it. That was one of my complaints in the game.
I did see that was one of your complaints. I lied. I did read a little bit of what you wrote.
This game actually does, in the gameplay, does a lot of freedom in terms of combat and puzzle solutions. You can use any enemy you beat as a creature in combat, as far as except for bosses.
Correct.
I think that's the only ones that you can't use as a monster afterward.
Yeah, and various inanimate objects you can also get a clone of an Echo.
Not all of them,
Not
but
all
like
of them,
if they're
but
relevant for puzzles, definitely.
yes.
And every once in a while, there's a new one that gets added in to help you along with your solutions. They do have a varying degree of ability based on how you prefer to play, but all the old tropes are still here. Weighted block puzzles.
Yep.
Enemies weak to certain types over others, i.e. the Pokemon quote there.
Yes.
The overall game felt creative and fun.
Yeah, towards the latter stages of the game, one of my bigger ones, actually only used it in the one area, was pull out the frog that starts singing to make it rain and then put a bunch of electric guys out, because then their electricity becomes like a 5-foot wide orb around them to electrocute guys rather than just having to touch them.
Yeah, early on you got the big spinny guy and you used him a ton.
Yes.
And then you switched, I don't remember your middle creature, but once you got the giant shield moblin, that was your go-to. That and the flame jelly.
Wizrobe?
He was used a few times, but the flame slime.
Oh yeah, he's one of the first ones you get.
But you started using him a ton at the end.
Yes, definitely towards the end. Yeah, I think it was a level 3 shield moblin. I was exploring whatever the Lost Woods are called in this game. Sacred Forest, I think. And I ran into him, and he was horrifying. And then he was my go-to for killing bad guys.
Even over the Lionel.
Even over the Lionel. The Lionel was a little too, I don't want to say slow, but he would take his time and then do like a giant spin, which is cool if there's a lot of guys, but if it's just one or two, he was kind of not great, whereas the Moblin just charges forward to whoever's closest and blocks them with the shield and then just
bombs them away.
Hits them, and he doesn't get frozen, and he does catch on fire, but he has so much health that it takes forever.
Yeah, and he won't be stunned by electricity either.
Correct, yes. And then also in the Lost Woods, where I was like, what's up with these horse hooves? You're like, oh, follow them. You looked it up and said, okay, go ahead and follow them, and good luck. And that's all you told me, and that is how you find the Lionel. And he was horrifying.
He's quite scary. You fought him twice. 3
yeah,
times.
I died the first time, didn't I?
3 times, because you beat him the second time by just mob dropping and running and making him run around a rock was your strategy.
Yes, it was. I saw somebody do that on TikTok.
Yeah. He'll chase you on the rocks, so you just left explosive fish along the way and kept blowing him up.
I did keep blowing him up. I forgot how I beat him. That is how I did it. Bomb fish.
Bomb fish. And those are how your early bombs are. You do get an alternate form where you flip into your tunic form where you act like Link.
Yeah, you're basically like a shadow Link. An energy Link, yeah, that's a good word.
You have an energy bar. You have his sword, shield. You get his bow and arrow.
Bow and arrow, and then you get bombs. I never use those bombs.
You probably could have a lot, but you didn't.
Yes, it was like the magic meter in Link's Awakening using that form, and you didn't find the magic to refill it in the main world. You had to be in the shadow world, so I didn't use it that often.
I think if you use the right relics, you could have used it
Probably.
more frequently, because it said enemies will drop it more often.
Yes.
And I saw the enemies dropping a ton more rupees, for instance, when you wore the one for the rupees. So
yes.
The other new thing in this game is you got trinkets that you could equip, different pieces of jewelry or items like flippers or something, and they gave you stat buffs. So the flippers let you swim quicker.
You could hold your breath for longer.
That was the scale. There was a heart one that meant enemies drop more hearts for you.
Yeah, I felt as though it was very hard to find items just like doing the normal Zelda thing of cutting down grass or throwing jars. Like things didn't... It was kind of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom-y in that regard of like you couldn't just find hearts around the world very often.
Yes, but it did once you use the equips to boost whatever you were looking for or to do. It worked out. They worked pretty well. There was a noticeable difference.
Yes, and then you found the singular Great Fairy in the world, and you could buy extra slots to wear more pieces of jewelry. And there's a fair amount of trinkets for you to get. I think I had 8 or 10. There's probably 12. I'm trying to picture the menu in my head.
You could equip 4, I think.
I think four was the max, and that was 200 rupees, 300, 500, and then 1,000.
Yeah, so they overall they gave you enough resources and material to help you get through the game. I felt it wasn't overly challenged. You died a couple times, but as a whole, it wasn't so incredibly challenging, even with the limitations you had on your combat and using enemies for combat.
Yes, and one thing I did like that I found out the hard way, unfortunately, because I wasn't paying attention, was if you ran out of oxygen underwater, you would just start taking damage until you could refill your oxygen rather than just drowning.
Yes.
Which was very nice. I mean, this is definitely aimed more at like a younger age of players, but that was still very appreciated.
Yeah. I really did want to touch on this before, and the Nintendo does not do well with their menu system. In the past several Zelda games. Yeah,
Breath of the Wild wasn't too terrible because
the slots you had, you
had a certain amount of slot,
and you would also flip between the screens. So you would have a shield screen, you'd have an item screen, you'd have a bow screen, you'd have so there was more menus than necessary, but it wasn't just sliding through 1,000 items. Tears of the Kingdom was awful.
Tears of the Kingdom was just sliding through thousands of items to try to
find what you were looking for.
Find what you were making to build, and this was very much more of the same with all of the echoes that you get, and you really only use like a dozen of them fairly consistently.
Yes, so my thought was something like that menu system that was in the Breath of the Wild, but imagine if it was like your static objects, your moblin enemies, and like if you have enemies.
So how it did it, so you could toggle how Tears of the Kingdom, how Echoes of Wisdom did it was you could change the sort. So it was most recent, most used, cost, something else, and then type. So your thought is take the type and then like
literally
static objects. So like your jars, your rocks, your beds would be one, and then you could toggle down to here's all your moblins or your sword enemies, and then toggle down to here's all of your ice.
All the flyers.
Yeah,
that would have been
a little better.
A little bit. Again, it's not perfect because there's probably more nuance that you could get into to make it easier to find something. But for me, just having them separate like they did in Breath of the Wild.
Yes. That would be a little bit better for sure.
Would have been a lot better because the actual menu was fine when you were just going through your normal menu system, like to find your smoothies or look at your map.
I have thoughts on the smoothies, but yes.
That was easy, though.
Yeah.
All in all, they could have implemented something a little more akin to Breath of the Wild than Tears of the Kingdom, and it would have been better. Again, is it enough to really take away from the game? No, because your most frequently used were your most frequently used, and you just went back to those same 5-10, and they were all up front. But it did drive me crazy. And I almost feel like less would have been more in this game.
Yeah.
It's an old-style Zelda. They could have made it more old-style. The items in this game were great. I actually thought a lot of them were really creative and cool, and it did allow for multiple play styles. It just didn't feel necessary to have that many. I'm kind of cycling here, but all in all, I'm torn because I like people having choice, but with that menu system, it didn't feel like an advantage. It felt more like a burden to me.
A little bit, yeah. And it did remind me of Tears of the Kingdom a lot. I used the old bed, which is like the very first echo that you get because it costs 1.
Yeah, and it still refilled your hearts if you slept on it.
Yeah, it gave you half a heart. That was the nice thing. And that was also a TikTok I saw was the Ganon battle. Somebody put 2 rocks with a bed behind it so that when he threw his spear, it hit the rocks, and then they laid in the bed to get all their hearts back.
That's so funny.
So I used the old bed. I used Zelda's bed to heal because she would do, I think, a heart and a half or something ridiculous. I used my level 3 shield moblin a lot. I used the crotula, the climbing spider,
To get up the
to
cliffs.
get up cliffs.
Because you could jump, but it would just carry you up there.
Yes, and then we discovered way too late in the game, mostly after the Elden Volcano area where you needed it, where you could create an echo of something that flew, grab it, and then go to the vents that were shooting air up to float over things very gently.
It was your parachute or whatever, his glider.
Your sailcloth.
Your sailcloth.
Yes. Yeah, found that one out too late.
But it was, once you learned it, it was fine.
Yeah, and then the flame slime was a good one for a lot of it.
That's so funny. Early on in the game, we're in one of the shadow worlds where you had to get over to the rock face. You probably just needed to glide with one of the bats over there.
Probably.
We made it so complicated.
Very complicated, yes. So yeah, I used like the same half dozen for most things, and most of the time I used the old bed to cross distances because it only cost 1, and I think you get 2 triangles with try to start, or 3.
2 or 3, but you got up to 6.
Yes.
And most of your things cost 1 less.
Yes.
By the end. His max level is 12 and almost everything. I think you needed to go and find a couple more random...
They were probably through some side quests.
Yeah, some extra shadows that way.
Yes.
You leveled up really slowly when it wasn't a main mission, but it makes sense for a Zelda game to do it that way. It just felt obnoxiously slow.
It felt very, very slow. Correct.
I will caveat, as we sound like we're complaining a lot, that this was a very needed game. I felt like this game was really nice because we weren't really expecting it. They kind of announced it a month prior to it coming out, or a couple months, and then it was just here.
Yeah, I want to say it like the Nintendo Direct in June. They're like, comes out in September, and everybody was like, what? It's a new Zelda game?
And they released it as Zelda's the main character.
Yep.
And it had a nice mix of the newer game, but older style at the same time.
Yeah.
And it really shows that this still has a big place in the video game industry. That type of game, especially old style Legend of Zelda games, still have their place in the industry, especially adding new mechanics like being able to jump, messing with the physics of the world a little bit more. Yes. Not as much as, like you said, as Tears of the Kingdom, but it really gave you a lot of options and more to do, having more items and options in the world, and it really, I felt like, enhanced that style of game.
It did. I liked that it kind of, as you just said, took you back to an old school Zelda game, but I also enjoyed that it was still kind of open world in that it didn't shut you off from certain areas. If you didn't have the flippers, or if you didn't have this to move this giant stone, like you could pick, once you did like the first main area and took on Ganon, then it really opened up the world of like, you have these 4 locations that you have to go to, and you could do them in any order that you wanted to.
No item was restricting you from being
Correct,
there. That's right.
And that was nice that it gave you that amount of freedom as well.
Yeah, and you got the tools in the areas you needed. You didn't have to explore and get extra ones. You didn't have to go get the automatons. You didn't even use them after you got all of them.
Oh yeah, Dampy. I never used those automatons.
And they were good too.
They were. I got all of them for some reason and literally would walk out of his house, try them out on the nearby enemies, and then go, cool.
And then forget about them. I literally think you just forgot
I
about
did.
them.
1,000%.
So the game proves that there's a market for this stuff, and I think it's reassuring to Nintendo that people still want to play this stuff because making a big Tears of the Kingdom is not a short production.
It's a short process.
They need a long time to work on it. So this game, I'm sure it's not short to make something like this, but it is not a 6-year, 8-year cycle before a game releases. This is one they can probably churn out in a year and a half.
Yeah, I'd say two to three tops.
Yeah.
I mean, they did Link's Awakening and then this. There were 5 years between that. Mm-hmm. This one, I think, I was reading something somewhere, I'm very specific here, where whatever the original developer was making this game, and like one of the original creators of Zelda like started playtesting it and was like, holy crap, hold on a second, we should make this a Zelda game. Mm-hmm. And that's how it came to be.
That works, though.
It
worked
does.
out really well. It shows that, again, there's a market for it. People want
Zelda
it.
games don't need to be massive open world things like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, they sold millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of copies, but going back, quote unquote, back to basics, something a little more simple, was still a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it worked out in their favor.
Yes.
So, end of the day, we're looking pretty good. I'm really happy that there's room for Breath of the Wild and what I'm going to call the Link to the Past-esque.
Link to the Past, Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Link's Awakening style. The new Link's Awakening style for sure.
I have random thoughts written down here.
I would like to hear them.
Okay, most of them sound negative, but they're just more like my comments on the game itself. Mm-hmm. Try is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Not as bad as Navi. I'd say more on par. I actually had to look up their name because I could not remember. More on par with Fee from Skyward Sword, who actually a lot of people think is just as annoying as Navi. Mm-hmm. She's the one that would be like, there's a 52.6% chance that this will work or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, again, I know this is marketed towards a younger audience, but she uses like the same lines all the time and she doesn't understand human emotions, and it's just like, okay, I get it, you're a little star thing, I get it, you're one of the star things from Super Mario Galaxy, got it.
That's how they got in there.
Yes.
There's the tie-in.
Yes. Lumens, is that what they are?
Yeah, lumens, I think.
The world exploring sometimes felt a little lacking, kind of taking like Breath of the Wild and shrinking it down a little bit, where like if you're exploring in Breath of the Wild and like you're kind of thinking this is kind of getting boring, and then something suddenly pops up, it was kind of like that. Mm-hmm. And also in the same token, it felt really hard to find pieces of heart just around the world. I think I was just expecting that as like an old school Zelda game where you would see like pieces of heart out on a cliff, and it's like, dang, I don't have the hook shot yet to get this, was kind of my thought process. But you could stack beds on top of each other and get it that way, so I think that's why they didn't just have pieces of heart sitting around.
Yeah, I found less exhilarating to explore in this game for some reason, but it was still fun to open up the map.
So many few bomb spots to open up mystery caves that had like a jar in them or something.
Every spot is a mole spot.
Yeah, you actually did find me a lot of little mole digging spots that I would not have seen, so that was cool.
Yeah, there's one of the creatures you get's a mole, and if you put them in a little patch of dirt, they'll dig up items, or they'll dig a hole you can hop into to hop into secret cave entrances and stuff.
I'm also very much not a hardcore gamer, so I didn't notice this as much as like Game Ranks did. I would notice it maybe once or twice a night, but there is a lot of lag. There's a lot of lag, and it just kind of shows that they really need to announce the Super Nintendo Switch.
You are going hard on that patent.
I am going hard on the Super Nintendo Switch patent for the Nintendo Switch 2, because they already did it once. They might as well just do it again.
Yes. They are hitting a point where people are kind of going, your stuff is not working. I want to play this game on something that is consistent.
We had this complaint with Cult of the Lamb, and we played that like a year and a half ago.
That game was terrible.
Terrible on the Switch.
On the Switch. Whereas on any of the other systems, it was great.
Mm-hmm. And then my last comment that I have written down is that I loved the side quests in this game compared to Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom because they were just short and sweet. One kid in town wanted to see all the different slimes, and when I talked to him, I had 2 of the 3.
Did you get Rimuru?
I did get Rimuru, and then I made him big by putting him in the fountain.
Nice work.
Or there was somebody else that was like, oh my god, I'm out of butter, and then I happened to have like 5 sticks on me, and like it was just finished then and there, and I got 20 rupees.
You had a comment about the smoothies.
That's my comment on the smoothies. Like, they were fine.
How is it different from just cooking food and...
It felt more limiting, mostly because you took 2 ingredients and you had to make something. It felt very limited in that regard, where, like, until you started looking up how to make every single smoothie on the Deku Dude's menus, I didn't really care. I barely drank smoothies. I just healed sleeping on beds in the middle of dungeons.
That was more necessary. In the heat of battle, it was nice to have those.
Yes.
You did get all your bottles.
I got all my bottles. I had 15 hearts at the end of it. I don't know. I assume there were 20 that you could get, so I had missed
5 pieces of heart. I think you were
I
at
missed
3/4.
20 pieces of heart.
I think you were at 3/4, so you were missing 21 of them, probably, pieces of heart.
No, I would be
4,
missing
8, 12, 6,
17.
17, yes.
We can math.
No, not
it's
very
fine.
well. You're missing 17 pieces of heart.
Man, and they're not just sitting on cliffs for me to climb up with a spider. Come on, guys.
No, you explored one area, and I think you found an extra one there, that little snowy patch that you were walking through.
Yes.
So I gotta ask, what'd you give this game? What do you think?
I'm sorry, I was trying to type it, and The Legend of Zelda. Cadence of Hyrule was what came to my head.
Oh, that was such a good game. Oh, Cadence was so
My
good.
brain just died there for a second. And I beat this Friday. We're recording this on Sunday. I don't know when I'm going to post it, because we've posted a lot lately. It's kind of nice. But that last night of playing, and you just watched me struggle to hit the incorrect buttons to climb something, because you make an echo, and then you have to hit it with try to select it, and then you have to hold a button to follow it. So that's, you put a spider out, hit it with try, and then hold a button.
I think you
to
made 10
follow it
spiders.
up. I think I made 5 spiders at one point. I just was not having it. My brain was not working. So that's where my brain is right now. So I give this game an 8.5.
I am exactly the same as you.
Okay.
It didn't climb to the heights of A Link to the Past for me, but I think A Link to the Past has a lot of nostalgia in it, as well as if you just sit and played it right now, I forget more secrets in that game than I remember.
Yes, I'm trying to see. Did we do what's it? Link's Awakening?
We should have played Link's Awakening. Did we not do a podcast on Link's
Did we
Awakening?
not do a podcast on it?
Maybe you didn't get our score for it.
Maybe when did Link's Awakening come out? Was that before we started podcasting?
Oh no.
2019. Oh my gosh. Why did I think it came out 2 years ago?
It was before our...
We started in 2020. Wow. Okay. Because I was like, what did we give Link's Awakening remake? But that was literally just a remake. Like, I pulled out my guide from the Game Boy Color, and it was 98% the same.
So is that I think it's a remaster?
This says No, this says remake.
Okay. Well,
But
they didn't change anything.
They didn't change anything, so I guess you'd have to ask gamers the definition of remake versus remaster, because this is like brand new. They didn't just take the 2D and make it look a little prettier. They completely changed it to 3D.
Yeah, and this one's a whole new game.
Yes.
So yeah, either Link's Awakening was good.
It was.
On my memories, I'd still probably give it an 8 because it's still an iconic Zelda game. Yeah. It looked great. It played well. It was too short.
It was. We never played Link to the Past either. We've played it like so many times we don't need to do it for a podcast.
No, but we did play it before, while we were dating. We played it.
Back when I still lived at home, we were going to try to play Skyward Sword because I'd never beat it, but I didn't have any AA batteries for the Wii remote, so we just plugged in the Super Nintendo and played through A Link to the Past instead.
Yeah, I mean, it was not all at once, but we
just played
a few dates. We sat and played Zelda.
Sat in the basement, played Zelda. It was great.
And people wonder why we have a video game podcast together.
No way.
No way.
Them.
How could they?
Uh,
So I started playing Dead Space.
Yes.
Outside of World of Zelda. Finally started playing the Dead Space remake. The remaster remake, whatever it's called these days.
yeah.
It's really good. We both jumped a few times. The
Yes.
atmosphere is like one of the creepiest. I just wanted to see the opening because it's still one of my favorite openings to a video game.
It was pretty cool.
It is a movie start.
It is.
And it was really well done. And I thought the opening scene where I'm running for my life was still terrifying.
It was very not great. Yes.
And the monsters are horrifying.
They are disgusting.
And the jump scares are pretty good. Even you got once.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to playing more of that with you.
Yeah, we'll have that up in the next couple weeks. The Stardew Valley 1.6 update comes out tomorrow.
I will sit and watch you play that a little bit.
I know.
We're waiting for Indy comes out in December.
Yeah, Indiana Jones.
So we'll probably be playing that.
Someone has a birthday at the end of this month. They'll get a video game from me.
And so that'll be in line to be played.
Yes.
So I'm going to try to beat Dead Space before my birthday. We'll see. I probably won't play it tonight, but I'll play it.
Oh, yeah. It's 8:30.
It's 8:30. So
we're old people.
Yeah, so I probably won't play it tonight. I will play it sooner than later and try to get through that one so we can play whatever you get me for my birthday.
Yes. Hooray. And then you're probably getting me a game for Christmas.
Yeah, there's 95% chance you're getting a game. I also found a really good gift idea that is completely not video game related whatsoever.
Is that the one where we were talking about cinnamon sugar almonds outside? And
Yes.
then you were like, I have a great Christmas idea
And
for
it
you.
has nothing to do with
I was
cinnamon
like,
sugar at all.
Cinnamon sugar almond?
It has nothing to do with it. My brain went through a weird loop-de-loop, and I'm not explaining it because I don't want to spoil
That's
this
fine.
one.
Please don't. I would like to be surprised.
It's super dopey, but it makes me very happy. Outside of that, guys, we got nothing. This was a really enjoyable game. I can't recommend it enough. The menu system's tedious. This game will show you the age of the Nintendo Switch.
Correct.
We're eagerly awaiting for the Nintendo Switch 2. We'll buy all your products, Nintendo. We're there on day one.
The only gaming system I do not have is the Wii U because I thought it was repetitive.
Yeah, and you got a lot of the Wii U games on the Switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so there you go. All right, everybody.
We are at Gaming Marriage on Twitter.
GamingMarriage@gmail.com. Please give us recommendations. I am looking for things to play, even if you just want to hear a quick snippet from us after a podcast. If something she might play or I'll play, I would be happy to do that too, even if it's not a full podcast worthy. I'm always looking for games to play, especially things that don't take as long to beat.
There might be a mini podcast in the next couple weeks of a game I got a review code for the website I write for. It's just like an old school platformer that came out, I think 2 weeks ago now.
It very much fits old school platform.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Like it's fun and then it's super frustrating and then it's okay and then I stop playing for the night and then we go back to it and the rinse
and repeat.
Yeah.
It has really interesting concepts. I have some questions on its longevity in the market with what we have in the market in
Yeah.
that space. But we'll get to it. That'd be actually
Yeah.
fun to do a quick little
Yeah.
mini podcast on it. All right.
Yeah, that's all we got. All right, we're going to stop talking and
All right.
go sit on the couch.
All right. Bye.
Bye.